I'm here at the dock at LUMCON, and I'm going to demonstrate a method for sampling and quantifying plankton. One of the main methods used to sample plankton is a plankton net. This is a plankton net here. It has a few different parts: the bridle, the ring where the water passes through, and the mesh. This net has a 35 micron mesh, so any phytoplankton larger than 35 microns should be captured by this net. This is the cod end where the sample is collected. So to collect a sample, we put the net in the water, or make sure that all the bubbles are out so that the net will sink. You're just getting all the bubbles out and making sure that the net is wet. We are collecting phytoplankton today, so we're going to drag the net along the surface of the water, just below the surface, drag it fairly slowly, and then we'll pull it out and let it drain. So the net filters the water, concentrating the plankton into the cod end. We're just going to rinse the net down to make sure that all the plankton go into the cod end. And now we're going to detach the cod end from the net and make sure that all the contents end up in this bucket here. So if we want a quantitative sample, we have to make sure that we have all the plankton that we captured in the net. So rinse the end of the net to make sure that we got any plankton that were caught. And we'll pour this sample into our bottle. So here's our plankton sample that we can bring back to the lab. So back in the lab, this is our plankton sample. One way to quantify the plankton is using a counting slide. This one is called a Sedgwick rafter. It holds 1 milliliter of water. We're going to take a milliliter of water from our sample using a pipette here. Make sure it's well mixed. And so we'll take a milliliter from our sample and add it to the Sedgwick rafter here. And we will put the cover glass on the top. We'll have to be careful not to include any bubbles. So here's our sample. If we put this under the microscope, we can see what we got. So here are some plankton you might recognize from the class. This is a diatom called Actinopithecus. Here is a dinoflagellate swimming around. So if we count all of the plankton in this 1 milliliter sample, we can use this to calculate the plankton concentrations. To calculate the concentration of plankton in our sample, we need to know two things: the number of organisms and the volume sampled. To calculate the number of organisms, we take the number counted from our subsample. We multiply that by the sample volume, so that's the amount that we got from the cod end, and then we divide that by our subsample, which is 1 milliliter in this case. So if we had 16 diatoms in our Sedgwick rafter sample, we would multiply that by 212 milliliters and divide by 1 milliliter, and that would give us 3,392 diatoms. To calculate the sample volume, we multiply the sampling distance by the area of the net opening. To calculate the area of the net opening, this is just the area of a circle, so we multiply pi by the radius, or the diameter, over 2 squared. So for example, if we pulled the net for 6 meters and the diameter of the net opening was 0.4 meters, we would have a volume of 6 meters times pi times 0.4 meters over 2 squared, or 0.753 meters cubed, which we can convert to 753 liters. Finally, we can take those two numbers, the 3,392 diatoms divided by 753 liters, and that gives us a concentration of 4.5 diatoms per liter. So that's the number of diatoms per liter of seawater in our sample.